Okay, so Stephen Moy, you've been an investor since 2011. I'm not going to say how much you invested, but it was a nice amount. But my figures show that you've got a 78% gain so far. Not too shabby.
Yes, very
On
happy
paper.
with that.
On paper.
Yeah, on paper. Not actualized yet, but
Right.
I'm hoping it's going to be a lot more soon.
Amen. Thank you for that. So, Stephen, where are you calling from?
Right now, I'm stationed in North Carolina. I'm kind of all over, kind of originally from Virginia, but I've recently, for the last 9 years, I've been stationed in Eastern North Carolina as a service member in the United States Marine Corps.
Well, thank you for your duty. That's amazing. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, first of all, what your investing experience has been with us. Obviously, there was a long period when, people were upside down, but then we figured things out. Tell me a little bit about it in your own words.
Funny story, because it was one of those long in the Marine Corps. You always have these long periods of 24-hour duties, so you have a lot of time to think about things.
Right.
And I came across Origin Oil way back in the day, and I was very interested in the technology. I was very interested in its future potential, and I read up on it. Got in contact with the investing department with Origin Oil, and that's how I kind of started dabbling into as an unaccredited investor. But I also partook in a lot of common stock through brokerage firms as well. And I was really enthused about it. Through dabbling in common stock and the unaccredited investor, I started coming upside down. The company had been going through some changes, changed to Origin Clear eventually. But there was a long lull period where I was just upside down, and I was set to a point where I couldn't invest anymore to bring down my cost basis. Thankfully, when Ken came aboard and reinitiated contact with me, and he really reached out to me first, I didn't really reach out to him, and he offered me the finally a deal where I could actually get into the green, and started working with him, and got the financials in order. And now, on paper at least, I'm up. So I'm very happy with that. And then I see now a clear vision forward. I see a lot more upside now than I did even 10 years ago.
Wow, that is huge. What about is it in the vision? What do you see as how it's even better than the algae days?
Trying to break into, big oil has always been kind of an uphill battle. It was kind of the Goliath, if you will.
I have the tread marks.
And this was prior to fracking, so that wasn't even a thing back then. I mean, we were talking about like oil shortages with the Middle East wars and whatnot. I saw it more as a kind of a national security thing. If we could just make our own oil instead of having to go drill it elsewhere, that was kind of my perspective on it. With the environmental benefits being kind of a secondary.
Remember how the Navy was adopting biofuels at that point?
Yeah, I remember. I read articles about that as well, and how they were just trying to derive it. But again, it was just really expensive. People were trying to shoot it down left and right, and never got to the point where it was the economies of scale never worked for it, which I thought Origin Oil would have broken that mold. But with fracking and the cheapness of fossil fuels and gasoline, it kind of put the nail in that coffin. But I'm glad that we shifted using the same technology to the water industry, which again, like the just current events of Flint, Michigan, like being in North Carolina, learning all about the agricultural waste that comes off the pig farms, the chicken farms, and how it's polluting the rivers. And it's really causing a lot of damage to the local ecosystem, because being on the coast, fishing is huge. So having that diversification has global impacts, and not just in a kind of a big, because there's no big water other than just the reach, just the major utilities. So this was kind of an untapped area. And then speaking with Ken about the models of when you first try to just sell the big products first, like just wholesale products, to kind of more of a rental agreement, and with the eventual crypto adoption as the funding mechanism, that really opens up a lot of doors, especially if you get that thing to work like it's a smart contract, like Ethereum or Cardano kind of contracts, smart contracts. I think there's huge potentials with that, with investors all around the world and with projects. So as soon as it gets once the spark's lit and we get this flame going, then it's going to be unstoppable.
Stephen, you study a lot on your 24-hour tours of duty.
You do have a lot of time to yourself, and you do. It does take a while.
you were talking about how Ken contacted you and kind of rehabbed your investment. I can't tell you how important that was for me. I have many friends to this day in the stock, and it felt horrible to have crammed everybody down, including myself. Somehow we got it through legal that we could do this sort of reset, shall we say. The day we got it approved, I was like, oh Lord, we can actually do something for the faithful. And we never looked back. So, I'm super happy that we have this like really strong supporter base that has, been kept whole all this time. I'm glad you paid attention, that you did give Ken the time of day. I really appreciate what you've done here. It is super, super vital that we're able to get to the finish line like this. With now our conventional income has taken off, which was completely unexpected. So it's a win-win.
I'm definitely glad you reached out and kind of worked me through kind of rehabilitating the investment, bringing out the kind of making the money work right now until you got to a point where it would be self-sustaining and uplisting eventually. So I still have hope because I was at that point is where I thought, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to write this off as a loss. And I didn't want to do that because I already put in a lot of time and investment into the company itself. So at least I'm glad at this point, if I were to actualize now, that it would be in the green. But talking with Ken, listening to your weekly updates, I'm very optimistic, which is new, and I can say that even 4 or 5 years ago. But I'm definitely more optimistic than I was 2 years ago when I started working with Ken and with you guys, and really getting back into the fold of the direction of the company.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, you're certainly one of our near and dear. What is your specialty in the Marine Corps, if I may ask?
I'm actually an AVAB jump jet pilot.
Nice. Wow.
So the plane that Arnold flew, that's the one I fly.
May I ask what your rank is?
I'm a captain, 03 type in the Marine Corps.
Captain, thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate what you've done, of course, for us and also for all of us as a nation.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.